How do you get God to trust you to build a $10,000 a month business? That's what we're going to be looking at today. I've got some of my students with me that are part of my mastermind, and we're going to be looking at how to get God to trust you to build a $10,000 a month business. Because I know some of you guys here, I know you haven't hit your first 10K a month and things like that. And I'm also going to be putting this up on YouTube as well, because I know there's some people that haven't hit $10,000 a month. And what you need to understand is that it's not you who hits that $10,000 a month. It's, can God trust you? Can you get God to steward you? Because look, God has all the money on earth, but your job is to try and get God to kind of steward you to get that $10,000 a month business. So we're going to go through 7 steps today, literally just 7 steps of how you go from step by step so you can get God to trust you to build a $10,000 business. It's not, because you need to really remember that it's not you who builds a $10,000 a month business. It's God trusts you. Some people who don't believe in God, they'll call it the universe. I'm not going to call it that. I'm calling it God, G-O-D, Jesus Christ. That's who I'm talking about. But it applies to everybody, no matter what your beliefs are and things like that. It just applies. How do you get God to trust you? So yeah, Matthew, we can go to slide number 1. So the problem, I don't want Wi-Fi money with wicked methods. So right now, the online space is loud. It's a bunch of gimmicks, a bunch of scams, a bunch of shortcuts, a bunch of hype. I know you've probably seen those videos of guys that are saying how to get to 10K a month as quick as possible, how to get to 10K a month, how to get to 10K a month, how to get to 10K a month as quick as possible, as quick as possible, as quick as possible. And you've got it all wrong. If you think it's about how to get there as quick as possible, you've got it all wrong, because if you get there really quickly, then guess what's going to happen? You'll also lose it really quickly. And this is the thing. God doesn't want you to get it really quickly. He wants you to maintain it for a really long time, because at the end of the day, money is a tool. And God wants you to have that, to use that tool to obviously do his will. And obviously there's things that you want to do. He wants you to take care of your family. Do you get me? He wants you to take care of your family. He wants you to provide for yourself. Bro, he wants you to get that Lamborghini. If that's what you want in your heart, that's what's going to make you feel good, he wants you to get that. He wants you to get that Rolex watch or whatever you want to do. He wants you to take care of your family. Do you know what I mean? He wants you to do these things, but he's got to get you to trust you. And if you look at the online space is just screaming and screaming, loud noises, and they're just a bunch of gimmicks and trying to teach you how to get there as quick as possible. And I'm not saying you can't get there quickly, but there's a process that you need to follow. I'm not here to sell you magic. I'm here to show you the path where God can actually trust you with increase. The goal is to get to 10K a month without selling your soul. Look, I'm going to be really honest with you. I've gotten to 100K a month. And look, I've gotten to 100K a month, and it didn't feel good. It didn't feel good. I got to 100K and it just didn't feel good. And listen, there are so many entrepreneurs out there who, have been to Dubai. You see all the Miami guys, all of these guys, they're making a bunch of money. But they've lost their soul. The other day I was seeing this one info coach, I'm not going to name any names, and he was talking about how he's made millions and millions and millions, but he spent a third of that, 700K on material, 10, 12 cars, he said 12 cars. And it's you've lost your soul. The reason why you got into it isn't the reason why you're in it now. You've lost your soul. You got into it because you wanted to help your family and things like that, and you achieved that. But you just ended up losing your soul. So it just shows that. And look, the thing is, when you look at billionaires, the thing is for them, their issue isn't money. When you look at them, they're not trying to strive for money. When you look at an Elon Musk or Jeff Bezos, they're not looking for money. They're looking for something much, 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 much bigger than that. And that's what you need to have. First thing is you need to have, step one is you need to have a goal that is much bigger than money. Honestly, if your goal is money, you've lost. Just forget it. Just forget it. You might as well, if your goal is money, you might as well go get a 9-to-5 job. I'm gonna be really honest with you. If your goal is money, then just go get something that's gonna pay you immediately, because you're never gonna get to real wealth if your goal is money. Because the thing is this, not to get all even too spiritual, I wanna give the step-by-steps, I wanna give the practical advice. But if you don't have the capacity to have 10K a month, if 10K a month is your goal, then the moment you reach that, it'll get to your head and you'll lose it all. I've been there, done that, and lost it all multiple times until I eventually got it. So you need to have a goal that's much bigger, much bigger than just the 10K a month. Like, what are you trying to do with it? Because at the end of the day, money's just a tool. If your goal is just to look at it, stare at it, looking at it at a bank account, then yeah, that's just not the way to go. It needs to be much bigger than that. Like, my goal is to, like, your goal should be to give. Like, how much are you trying to give? Are you trying to start a charity? Are you trying to start, are you trying to give it to your church and because you want to see it advance? Are you trying to, help your family? How big? This is the thing. There's a reason why you see a strong correlation with, I think 1/3 of billionaires or something, or 2/3 of them are first-time millionaires, first-time, billionaires. Most of them are also immigrants. The reason why is because their goal was much bigger than just making 10K a month. It was family. A lot of you guys here, I know that the reason why you guys are even in this room and you've paid to be in this room is because I know that you guys' goal is a lot bigger than just making money. Because if it was just making money, you'd be going slaving away at one warehouse. Everybody here knows people. We all know people who, most people's goal is just money, and that's why they're at a warehouse. But you're here because you understand your goals are much bigger than that. Not only do you want to get to 10K a month, but you want to be able to sustain that too. And that only happens if your goals are big enough to sustain that. All right? So I want you to start thinking about that and really get deep into it. Really get deep into your why. Don't just let it be so surface level. Don't just let it be a Lambo. Don't just let it be a Rolex. Don't just let it be that. Don't just let it be, I don't even want to hear financial freedom, time freedom. No, bigger, deeper than that. Like it needs to be to the point where, you feel like you're going to die if you don't achieve that. For me, when it got to the point for me where, I got to hit where I just needed to make 10K a month, or I felt like I was gonna die. Honestly, it has to get to that point where it's like, if I don't get 10K a month, like anything else is just, any other reality of life where I'm not hitting 10K a month, it's just boring. It's just I can't actually imagine life not making 10K a month. Not because of the money, but I can't imagine not giving that kind of value out to people. Reason why is because, I've worked at McDonald's. I was working at McDonald's. Like, I'll give you one story. Like, I was literally working at McDonald's. I needed money. I was like 19, 20. And I remember I was only doing it for temporarily. I always thought that McDonald's was just it's a stepping stone to get to the next level. But when I was there, tell me why. I'd ask people, what's your next goal? What's your next move? At the time, I was studying to be a doctor. I was, studying to be a doctor, had an offer from a medical school, from Southampton Medical School, and I was just I was resitting my A-level exams, and just wanted to go ahead and be that doctor. And I'd ask other people, what are you trying to do? And, I asked one guy, never forget him. He said, I said, what's your dream? He goes, I want to be an actor. I was like, oh, great. So, what are you doing towards that? He's like, nothing. I was like, what do you mean? I was like, what do you mean you're not doing anything? He's like, nothing. I'm here at McDonald's. I need to work, man. I need to get money. And I was just thinking to myself, but what do you do after you get the money from McDonald's? Then obviously you're going to pursue acting, right? He's like, nah, man, that dream's gone. Mind you, this guy is in his early 20s saying that. Early 20s saying, that's it. And then what was even scarier is then I'd speak to, I spoke to other people. I said, but like, how long have all you been here for? And how long do you intend to stay? And how long have you been here for? I spoke to that guy. He said, I only intended to be here for a year. I've been here 3 years. I spoke to somebody else. I was only supposed to be here for 6 months. I've been here for 4 years. And I was just like, what the heck? Like the fear of God started coming over me. And then I spoke to one lady, and I'll never forget this moment, like it was yesterday. I said, how long were you supposed to be here for? She said, 3 months. And I said, how long have you been here for? She said, guess. I said, 3 years? She said, nah. 5? She said, nah. I said, how long? She said, I've been here for 10 years. I said, gosh, 10 years. McDonald's. Wasting your life. That, my friends, is what you call a waste of life. Honestly, as rude as it might sound, that is what you call waste of life. Not waste of potential, waste of life. 10 years. McDonald's. Even McDonald's know that you're not there. You're not there because you love McDonald's, the brand. You're there as a stepping stone. Jeff Bezos worked at McDonald's. It was a stepping stone. Faith worked at McDonald's. It was a stepping stone to where I need to go. I knew that my time was up after that. After that, I'll never forget, I was listening to Miles Monroe in my earphones. I'd have my headset on. I've got to put a picture up for those who are watching on YouTube. I was listening to Miles Monroe. I'd have my headphones on and I'd put my AirPods underneath, and all I'd be listening to is Miles Monroe, night shifts, 8 hours on repeat. And I found myself, God revealed my purpose to me. And you know what? I left without making any money. I left and the rest is history. But guys, you gotta have a bigger goal. And for me, it's just purpose, man. It's just purpose, and there's just more in life than working at McDonald's and working for money. God forbid. Muffy, if we go to the next slide. But let's get into some real practical stuff. So step number 2, the 10K equation. Let's get into some real practical stuff. I know that's what you guys are for. Let's get into a little bit more practical stuff. So what I'm going to show to you is the 10K equation. God can bless what's built right now. You see, a lot of people, they do this thing, and I really hate it, where they pray, wish. They have loads of ambition, but they don't do anything. They think that God is some sort of genie that's going to come flying through the air, and you're going to pray and God will just magic 10K into your account. It doesn't work. If you want to get 10K into your account, it's going to happen through systems. It's going to happen through, it's going to happen through your market. It's going to happen through a model. It's going to happen through your person, and it's going to happen through time. We're going to go through each one of these. Let's start with market. Your market is who you serve and what pain you solve. So when we look at, Apple, for example, Apple, who do they serve? They serve people that want to be more efficient with, their business, with their personal life. And the pain that they solve is, look, let's just use a simple example. Like a simple pain is they solve communications. So if I want to call my mom right now, instead of going to one of those phone booths and getting coins and going through there, and right now it's raining right now, and that'll be a waste of my time and resources, Apple have solved my pain by allowing me to just take this phone, pick it up, and just call. Even if we look at a water company like Highland Springs, who do they serve? It's very simple. They serve people who are thirsty. Very simple. And the pain they solve is thirst. Very simple. You need to know who you serve, and you need to know it well. So Samuel over here, I know that you've got a coaching business where you help artists who want to start a business without relying on their music. So you know who you serve and what pain you solve. Who you serve are artists, producers, creators, and the pain you solve is artists who aren't able to get paid through their work. So how they can make money outside of that. I know that Cheryl, who you serve women, young women that want to make money online, want to make their first amount of money online. You've got to know your market, you've got to know who you serve, your market is who you serve, and what pain you solve. And let me teach you something, and please never forget this, because you're not going to get to 10K if you don't. The more specific you get with who your market, the more specific you get with who you solve, the more money you make. Let me give you an example. Doctors. You've got let me give you an example of the GP versus the general doctor versus the specialist doctor. The general doctor serves anyone. He doesn't care if you are black, white, tall, slow, doesn't care. And what pain? He solves any pain. He doesn't matter if your pain is in your knee, in your heart, in your head, in your elbow, in your chest. He doesn't care. The general doctor earns, and let's now look at how much they earn. The general doctor will earn in America, he will earn anywhere from $100 to $400,000 or $500,000 a year. Great, good money. But the specialist, let's say, not just a heart surgeon, but let's say a triple bypass specialist. He only deals with triple bypass surgeries, and it's only for I don't know what the paternity specialist, I don't know, but he only deals with children. So who does he serve? He only serves children under 10 years old. What pain do you solve? He solves heart conditions for children. Do you want to know why that doctor earns $5 or even $6 million a year? I'll give you a few reasons. Number one, he serves a very niche group, but not only that, he deals with children. People's parents, let me ask you guys, any of you guys, I don't think any of you guys have children yet, but wouldn't you do anything for your child? These are people that are very vulnerable positions. People are willing to do, these are people that are going to remortgage their houses to take care of their child. Just like any of us here in this room would as well. And the pain is unimaginable. When you're talking about people that could, if the problem's not fixed, that person's gonna die. There is no kind of expense that anyone's not willing to pay. This is why the general doctor is gonna earn $100,000 to $400,000 a year, and that specialist, cardio, surgeon who deals with children is gonna earn $1 to $4 million. Does that make sense? So make sure you specialize. Your model is how you deliver and how you get paid. Many people have great ideas. You've got a great idea. You've got the product. It's gonna help people. But if you can't package that product and if you can't get paid, forget about it. Just forget it. If you can't package your product and get paid for it. Look, it doesn't matter how good the Apple iPhone is. It doesn't matter. If you can't, give me your laptop as well over here. It doesn't matter how good, this laptop is. It doesn't matter. If you can't deliver it and if you can't get paid, you're not gonna get rich. You're not gonna get to that 10K a month. So how we delivery for you guys is gonna be, are you gonna deliver it through a webinar? Are you gonna deliver it through sales calls? Are you gonna deliver it through DMs? Are you gonna deliver it on YouTube? Are you gonna deliver it on Snapchat? There are so many different ways that you can deliver. And then how are you gonna get paid? You see, these are the things that people don't really like to talk about in info. People just want to talk about do this, pay me. But how you get paid, honestly, is one of the most, you see, on a typical sales call, what people don't understand is that on a typical sales call, you'll spend about 15, 20 minutes on the discovery. Say a sales call lasts an hour. You'll spend 15, 20 minutes on the discovery. You'll spend another 15, 20 minutes on the pitch. But people don't realize that I've sometimes spent 30 minutes on payment. 30 minutes collecting payment. 30. Because I didn't have the right system set up. Stripe shut me down. bank accounts aren't working, yada, yada, yada. Person couldn't pay in full, so we tried to do a payment plan, didn't work. Person's from a different country, links didn't work. If you don't know how, and I could do, and that's a whole separate thing, but if you can't get paid properly, it could be a big issue for you. So make sure you have that, make sure you have a business bank account. Don't use your personal bank accounts and then have your bank calling you and saying, why are you accepting business payments into your personal bank accounts? Some of you are still using your personal bank accounts. That's wrong. Have your Stripe set up and make sure, have your dispute rate low. There are many alternatives to Stripe. You've got Klarna too. Have it so that people can pay within split payments. I don't want to ramble on about that. And how you deliver, I mentioned that, yeah, webinar, sales call, everyone knows these things online, but how you deliver is very important. And a thing I just want to touch on, because everyone keeps rambling on the same things, how you deliver. What's the best thing? Is it sales calls? Is it webinars? Is it DMs? Is it this? Is it this? Is it this or that? Look, I'll be honest with you. First of all, how you deliver, you shouldn't even worry about what's the best. Do something and do a lot of it. Just do it at least for 6 months consistently before you figure out whether it's good or not. But secondly, do what you like the most. I'm gonna be honest with you, because the thing that you like the most, look, for someone like me, it's clear. I've got charisma, I can talk, I know how to talk in front of a camera. So doing webinars, doing one-to-many is very simple for me. It's very easy for me and I like it, I enjoy it. I like talking in front of people. That's what I like to do. It's very clear. It's not something, I've been like this my whole life. So of course it's gonna work for me. But if you're someone who likes to stand more behind the camera, you're a little bit more shy, then maybe you should do sales calls. Maybe you should even just do DMs only. That's fine. That's what you should probably more do. Person, who you must become. That's your character and skill. Again, it's something that a lot of people don't really touch on in this world, in this info space, in this coaching space, in this online marketing space. The person who you become matters way more than what you want to achieve. You've probably heard this before, and I'll repeat it. If you want to get to 10K a month, you have to be the person that makes 10K a month. I wanted to get my words out properly. Before you get to 10K a month, you need to act like the person that makes 10K a month. That means that person that makes 10K a month, there's a certain way that they sleep. There's a certain way that they eat. There's a certain way, bro, there's a certain way that they go to the toilet. You know what? I read something. It's so interesting. I read something. Don't know if you guys follow football. So Manchester United just sacked their manager, Ruben Amorim. And he said something in an article which I found so incredible. He said he could tell that Manchester United, I think they draw the game. He said he could tell Manchester United were basically going to lose the game by the way they tied their shoelaces. You could, that statement couldn't be more true. There have been times where I've gotten on set. I like, with all humility, I can get on a set. When I am on a sales call, I can tell whether that person's gonna make 10K a month or not. Just give me 5 minutes with you. I can tell whether you're gonna make money within the first 5 or 10 minutes. I can tell whether you're gonna make 10K or not. Simple. There's just a way that you speak. There's just a way that you look. There's just a way that you talk. And I'm not saying you can't get there, but I can tell. And so there's just a way, it's a way you move, it's a way you talk, it's a way you act. There's a way that you get there. Time. This is something that, again, I don't know if like people in this online space are like scared to talk about time. Maybe it's because they want to get clients, they want to get students. What I think is that a lot of people online, they don't talk about time because they want you to think that it's going to happen quickly. So buy their program, buy their coaching offer, buy it, because they'll tell you, oh yeah, bro, you'll get there in 30 days, bro. Yeah, buy. No. Now, have some people got there in 30 days? Yeah. But will you get there in 30 days? Probably not. Let's just take a step back a little bit and just look at what we're talking about here. We're talking about 10K a month. That's 120K a year. no matter what country you are in the world, making six figures a year automatically puts you in the top 10% of that country immediately. So already you're already the top 10%. So it means that wherever you go, wherever room you walk into, you are the top 10%. So you have to ask yourself, and when we look at any other profession, whether that be a doctor, lawyer, engineer, any of these kind of top professions where they are making six figures per year, it doesn't happen overnight. If you want to make six figures in the corporate space, you're going to have to go to university for at least 3 years. You're going to have to put in at least minimum 3 years of work in before you get these kind of contracts. If you're going to do it in the medical space, you're going to have to go to university for at least 7 years before you see that type of money. It's only in this online space where you can make six figures that quickly and in such a short space amount of time. But the thing is this as well, my friends. Even when you do see somebody make 10,000 and it looks like they've made it in 30 days or 5 days or 3 hours with the way everyone wants to show things. Trust me, there was 3 years worth of work that was happening in the background that wasn't for show. When I made my first $10,000 in a month, it looked like it happened really, really quickly. When I started properly in the online space by myself, I dabbled in it in late 2020, but I started properly in 2021, say July. I made my first $5,000-$6,000 in August, and then September, I made about $9,000, and then literally I jumped to October and November, I jumped to like $25,000 right off the bat from there. And from the outside, I was, how old was I? I was 22, just turned 22, looked like I just made my first $10,000 and I was making it consistently. But you haven't seen when I was 20, 21 and I was reselling sneakers and I was failing. You didn't see when I was 19, 18, 19, and I was doing drop shipping and I was making 1,000, but I made 1,000 and I lost it all and I was failing. You didn't see when I was 16, 15, 16, 14 even, and I was reselling sweets and chocolates when I was at school and I was learning how to negotiate and how to price myself. You didn't see me when I was 10 years old, 9 years old, and I was, selling pens to my classmates because if they didn't have their pens, they would get a detention, and I was cleaning cars. You didn't see all of that. 10 years, all in the background, doing the work. And that consistency over years is what led me to where I am right now. And you might think, oh, look, he's 26 now. He makes hundreds, thousands every single month, millions every single, that's millions every single year. But you haven't seen the decades, the years so it's not going to happen overnight. Now, we can speed up that process with the right knowledge, mentorship, skills. That's why you're here in this room. That's why you're watching this video. We can speed up that with this. And that's why I created this equation. So to get, and just to give you understanding. So again, to get to 10K a month with that niche style market, with the right model, and I would recommend you deliver it through YouTube. I recommend you get paid via WAP. I recommend WAP or School or Stripe. And with the right person, and if you put that to the square root of time, it gets you to 10K a month. And so now you can see that the biggest lever that you have, if any of you know basic maths, is time. The more time you give yourself, the quicker you get to 10K a month. Now, time can also be condensed. It's a law of physics, isn't it? Time can be squeezed down. So if you're working, 4 hours a day in your business and you're working 8 hours, you will get to 10K a month in 3 months and you get there in 6 months. But if you're working 16 hours, you'll get there in 90 days, a month and a half. Yeah, a month and a half. No, 90 days. I think my maths is wrong here. But 45 days. You'll get there in a month and a half. So if you can squeeze that with time, you can get there. Obviously, these levers also play a part too. Let's go on to the next slide, please, Muffy. The brutal truths. What trust will cost you? Look, you're not gonna make 10K in a month if no one can trust you. And so trust costs. Like the reason why people are scamming, the reason why people, and scamming is a big industry. The reason why people are doing that is because they don't want to pay what trust costs. So you have to understand that trust is going to cost you something. And trust costs a lot. You know, look, I'm in a position. This is why they say the bigger you get, the more responsibility. I'm in a position where, look, if I wanted to, I could put out some BS course and rake in 100,000 and just never deliver on it. I'm in that position where I could promise, hey guys, you're gonna make $1 million in 10 days. People would believe me. They would buy the course and I'd make, let's say I sold it for 10,000 and I sold 10 of those, I'd make 100 grand just like that. I could do that. I'm in that kind of position right now. But am I gonna do that? No, because it took me a long time to build that reputation, but it will finish quickly. So trust costs. You need to understand these truths, please. It won't be fast. Instead of thinking 12 to 36 days, think 12 to 36 months. Please do not listen what's online. I will probably be the only person, hey, let me say this to the camera because so more people can hear it. I will probably be the only person in this online space to tell you the truth. It's not gonna happen quickly. 12 to 36 months is more realistic. It's gonna take a long amount of time, especially if you're a beginner. Like we're talking, you don't know anything. It's probably gonna take you, I like to use the university's degree rule. It's probably gonna take you 3 years. Think of it more like that. And if you're not happy for it to take you that amount of time, then go get a warehouse job where you can get paid right now. There are no shortcuts. It's not exciting. I'm gonna be honest with you. Business is not exciting. And let me give you something that you need to remember. The more boring business is, the better it is. Boring business is better. Boring business is better than fun business fails. Fun fails, boring better. Fun fails, boring better, yeah? Because it's the daily, boring. Like my routine, for 100K a month, a 10K a month routine looks like this. It looks like getting up at 8, doing what you need to do, praying, showering, and do what you need to do for 30 minutes, reading your book for 30 minutes, and then just working. 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. working. Whether that looks like taking 10 to 12 sales calls throughout the whole day. Whether that looks like doing outreach to 800 leads every single day. Follow-ups to 800 people every single day. 100 to 200 outreaches every single day. Whether that looks like jumping on client calls for an hour at a time and you've got your 10 clients. That's what it looks like. It looks like real work. And it looks like doing that 6 days a week, day in, day out, 365 days a year. And if you're not prepared to do that, then go find another profession. It can be painful and lonely. The pressure will absolutely expose you. I've had the most loneliest times ever doing business. Ever. I've got a great support system. I've got a great family, but there has never been a more lonely time than when I've been doing business. There's never been a more painful time than, you see, business is more about how much pain can you absorb than anything else. It's just a pain game. Do you have a high pain tolerance? If you don't, you better. You better start learning that right now. If you're gonna, this is why you notice that a lot of entrepreneurs, they have this kind of like tough mentality. They're very tough because you will become tough. So if you're soft, and you better believe, if you think you're strong, business will absolutely expose you. The pressure will absolutely expose you. You may lose friends and comforts. I'm here to tell you right now that, look, that saying that people say, if you want to get to the top, look, it's like this. Have you ever noticed a rocket? When a rocket, starts to leave, starts to boost, have you ever noticed that the rocket is actually, Like 90% of it is just fuel and it's boosters, and about 10% of it is where the astronauts live. And have you ever noticed that when a rocket is flying through the air, that you'll see its boosters come off, and it has to shed weight. It doesn't need that anymore. For it to get to its destination, it has to let go of those boosters. It has to let go of some stuff, because in order for it to get to where it needs to go, things need to come off it. If it needs to get to the moon, it needs to come off. And so you may lose friends. You may lose comforts. You know, I'm a big movie nerd. Massive. I love movies. I love anime, bro. Or you could even say loved. Love it, man. Love it. But it got to a point, especially with anime, like, bro, I love anime. Naruto, Attack on Titan, My Hero Academia, you name it. I love it. But it just got to a point where if I wanted to achieve that 10K a month goal, we had to go all in. Not we want to, not we must, we had to go all in. Now, the funny thing is, look, maybe I could have found a business around my passion, which was anime. I could have, but it wasn't that. My business was in something that had absolutely nothing to do with what I was passionate about. Buying and reselling concert and event tickets. That's what made me tens of thousands every single month. You will lose your comforts. You will lose your sleep. You will lose it. And if you're not ready to lose that, then go find another profession. No one is coming to save you. This is one of the truths that you need to understand very, very quickly. No one's coming to save you. Look, not even I'm here to save you. There's no amount of money that's going to make me give you $10,000 every single month. There's none. It's all up to you. Look, frankly, you could pay me $1 million. I'll tell you the same information right here. Maybe I'll do it on a one-on-one basis. Maybe I'll let you shadow me. I'll do a lot more. Really try and hold your hand to get there. But at the end of the day, I can't force 10,000 a month down your throat. I just can't. It's all up to every single one of you. I can't force it. You've got to take responsibility. And just know this, I live my life like this. Everything is my fault. Everything. And let me tell you how extreme I get it. I get it to this kind of extreme. My extreme is, even if a car, let's say I was walking on the pavement and a car hits me, I'll ask myself, why was I on the pavement at that time? That's the kind of responsibility that I take. And if you're not looking to take that kind of accountability for yourself, then you're not going to get to 10K a month. Your weaknesses will get exposed. And weaknesses being exposed is the best thing. In fact, your weaknesses being exposed is the exact space and place that God wants you to be. Have you not noticed that in the Garden of Eden, in Genesis, everyone knows the story. No matter who you are, you know that in the Garden of Eden, Adam and Eve were naked and unashamed. This is the position that God actually constantly wants you to be in. You see, one of the reasons why I love business is because I believe that business is like a spiritual journey. Like business, it's like you will learn so much about your spirit man in business more than any other field, in my opinion. And I actually believe that everybody's called to do business. Why? Because when you look at stuff like the Bible and you look at society for the last, thousands of years, it's only for the last hundreds of years that we've had jobs and things like that invented. But when you look at the Bible, for example, there were only two professions. There was only two people that got paid. Either you were a soldier or you were a slave. Those are the only two people that salaried. Everybody else had their own profession. Jesus, a carpenter. Paul the apostle, a tent maker. Everyone had their profession. When we just look at any society, everybody, even if you were like the poorest of the poor, you had your farm. You had your carrots you were selling. You had your trade. You had your oil you were selling. You were selling fabrics. You had your trade. You had your business. And I believe that's how God really made us. Because the first thing we ever we learn about God is that we learn that God is a creative. Genesis chapter 1 verses 1, it says, in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. God created things. And if we were made in the likeness and the image of God, it means the first things that we have to find out about ourselves is that we are creative too. And I think business, it exposes that creative nature in you. Like, you have to be creative in business. If you're not, you will die. Like, you just have to be creative in business. You have to think up new and unique solutions to problems in order for you to advance in the market. You have to. You have to. And business will expose that side of you. So it's like business is a constant fire every single day. And the funny thing is, you have to get to the point, like Meshach, Shadrach, and Abednego. You have to get to that point where you have to just be able to just live in the fire. That's just how it is. Every day it's a fire. Every day a new part of you is being exposed. Every day it's just a new side of you. And yeah, that's just how it is. And like, you have to prepare yourself for that. And again, I don't think there's anybody in the online space that you're gonna find that's gonna tell you that, yo, this thing sucks, bro. But you just have to suck it up and go with the punches. Because honestly, it's definitely all worth it. I'll tell you that for a fact. Muffy, let's go to the next slide, please. So I don't know where we are, we're like step 4. So let's go into more practical, like how money actually works. You're gonna need to understand that in order to get to 10K a month. Value is pain relief. So it's like an inverse trend if you think about it. You take on lots of pain to relieve someone else's pain. Let me say that again. You take on a bunch of pain so you can relieve someone else's pain. So money is exchange. Please understand that. Money is just exchange. What you're exchanging is your value for what's in people's pockets. That is it. What wealth is, all wealth, how much someone has is predicated, or a little bit too much of a fancy word, but all value is basically how good can you basically talk to convince someone to give you the money in their pocket? That's all it is. What do you have to sell? What can you say that convinces someone to give you their hard-earned money in their pocket? Because you have to understand that people worked hard to get that money. People worked really, really hard. So you've just got to communicate that in a way that gets people to turn over their hard-earned money. A lot of people think that you could just make 10K a month by just posting. Like, you know what's so stupid is when you see people who think that they can make 10K a month by just being able to, post content, do sales calls. And the worst thing is when they think that they can get to 10K a month if they tell them that, I'll help you with your lead generation, and I'll help you with this, and I'll help you with that, I'll help you with this, I'll help you with that. You're so silly, bro. You're so stupid if you think that's how it is. What you need to do is communicate people's pains. If you don't know their pains better than, look, the reason why, and I love using the hospital example. I love it because, when you go to a hospital, the doctor diagnoses you and they listen to you, they listen to your pain, and then they prescribe to you something that's going to relieve that pain. And no matter what the cost, if they tell you this is a surgery that we have to do and it's going to cost you $100,000, you'll pay for it. Because if you know this is going to relieve my pain, I'm willing to go through that. Because health pain, there's no bigger pain than health pain, because you're constantly going through it. Even you people in this room right now, you're living with a pain of, I'm not making enough money in life, so I'm going to pay to get in this room so I can get my pain relieved. Does that make sense? Value is created when pain is alleviated. Business, therefore, is about finding pockets of pain and solving them deeply. The better you can solve people's pain, the better you're gonna get paid. Simple as that. Look, I don't like it when I don't have a fresh haircut. I feel pain, I look at myself in the mirror. And this is why you entrepreneurs, you should be looking at less business books and look at more psychology. Look at more human psychology. Look at the way people think. Because you see, I'll look at myself in the mirror and go, I'm not looking really that good. I'm looking scruffy. And someone will think, how does that doesn't make me feel good about myself. I'm thinking about how does that make me look in front of other people? Is someone gonna look at me and go, look, he's looking really scruffy today. So just for a simple cost of 20, 30 pounds, I can alleviate that pain. I'll go and pay it. Simple. And the bigger the pain, the more you're gonna get paid. Now, think about somebody who their hair is receding. That's big pain. That's big self-esteem issues, self-worth issues. And these are the things that you should now be attacking. To get to 10K a month, you need to look at where do people's self-worth lie. You see, on the, there's a graph. It's called the Maslow's hierarchy of needs. And what that graph describes, what this chart, describes, it describes basically what people's needs are on a hierarchical level. At the bottom of that, you have your basic needs. Like, I'm just kind of like really making it simple, but you have your basic needs like food and water. Once those needs are taken care of, you have like next needs, which are like family, the need for like family and friends and security. Once those needs are taken care of, you have your highest needs. These are things like self-esteem or self-actualization. That's just a fancy term to say your self-worth, your self-esteem, your purpose. Those are the big needs in life. And this is why people will pay so much for it. So, food, to fill my belly up for the day, it will only cost me $20 or $30. If I didn't have any shelter and I needed tonight to stay or I needed to rest my head, it might only cost me $100, for example. That's the bottom side of things taken care of. Then we go on to that next side, family, friends. I'm gonna pay a lot more. Like my friendships, my family is worth a lot more to me than $100. So if my family member tells me they just want like for example, if my friend, he lives in Dubai, if I want to go see my friend, because my relationship is worth that much, I'm going to be willing to spend $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 to go see my friend. I'm willing to pay Emirates. Emirates are literally saying, hey, you want to go see your friend in Dubai, then you're going to need to pay this for that value to go and see him. So I'm willing to do that because it's worth that much to me. Are we making sense here? And that's that next side of things taken care of, or my family. And that's that next side of things taken care of. And then now at the top level is your purpose. This is why a lot of you are here in this room. This is why individuals will spend $30,000 or $40,000 or $50,000 on their education. Because if you ask most people at university, especially when we look at those degrees that are less money related, and we look at the arts and the creative fields, and you ask them, why have you spent $50,000 on this degree? When you ask an artist, why have you spent $30,000 in this recording equipment? Why have you spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on this dream? You ask most business people, why have you spent hundreds of thousands of dollars, millions on this startup? Because it's so rooted to their purpose. Because they've asked themselves a question. I'm not willing to die. I'm not willing to be 8 years old on my deathbed, and I didn't put everything into achieving that result. That's the highest level of your needs in this world. And so if you can find a way, if you can find pockets of pain, those pockets of pain that are tied to people's self-worth, self-actualization, self-esteem, and if you're able to solve them at a deep level, not some small bit of pain, but at a very deep level, then you're going to get paid a lot. The reason, and I always go back to Apple, the reason why Apple is the most profitable company in the world is because, look, if I had to choose between an Apple iPhone and having a $1,000 Apple iPhone and a $30,000 car, if you told me these are the only two choices, I'm choosing the phone. If you had to tell me for the rest of my life, I'm choosing the phone because I can do way more with this phone. This phone solves a lot more for me than the car does. Car gets me from A to B, but this is everything. This is communicating with my family. This is building business. This is having memories that last for a lifetime. This is everything. This is a lot more. So you got to understand this. And if you can't, then you're not going to get to 10K a month. A lot of you are looking for me to tell you this practical stuff about getting to 10K a month. But if you can't understand this, just forget it. Forget it. And you won't find this in the online space. Let's go to the next slide, please, Matthew. Price ladder. The faster you increase value, the fewer clients you need. Now, there are many ways to get to 10K a month. Sorry, that's for another time. But there are many ways to get to 10K a month. You can do, and it all depends on how you price yourselves. You can do it super low, $1 to $100. You could do it low, $100 to 1K. You could do mid ticket, 1 to 3K. You could do high ticket, 3 to 10K, or you can do super high ticket, 10, 20K plus. So if you have $100 offer, for example, you would need 100 customers to make 10K a month. But if you have a 5K offer, you'd only need 2. Which one is easier? obviously the 5K offer. But now what does that mean? That means one simple thing. If you want to charge higher, you need to solve a bigger problem. Simple. If you want to get God, look, if you want to get God to trust you with individuals that are going to pay you 5K at a time, then you're going to need to be someone that has that value that can help alleviate someone's pain so they can pay you that. Simple. There's a big problem though. For a lot of you here, your problem isn't even that you actually need to go and learn something new so that you can increase your value. A lot of your problems is that you're too fearful to increase value because you think no one's gonna buy. So let me tell you something just to really help you. It really will help boost your confidence and help your confidence, all right? So if any of you here are like you're charging $1,000 a month. $1,000 for your offer. What I actually want you to do is, for the next time you get onto a sales call or next time someone's in your DMs, say 1.2. See if that works. And then if that sells, then go to 1.5. Take it up in small increments. Build your confidence up. Like I was speaking with Cheryl and literally, she was charging, I think, £297, still making 30K months, but charging like £297. And we just told her to double to 500, and she's making the same amount of money, but with less amount of clients. And we just fix a few things, and we'll be able to make more money with the same amount of clients. Picking the right market. Picking the right market is so important. And it's something that I'm gonna go on and on and on. But please don't stay on it. If the market doesn't work, move on. And it's all about, look, and let me just introduce you to a word, if you don't understand it, is your niche. Pick your niche and pick it well. I'm so big on niches. Because the more you can specialize yourself, the more that you can get paid for your specialty. I'll always say, I love using the example of doctors. You've got the general doctor and you've got the specialist. Listen, let me even go a little bit deeper. The general doctor earns less money, he works more hours, and he's even less respected. The specialist earns more money, does a few operations a week, and he's way more respected. The general doctor, he fixed your headache. And hear this one as well. The general doctor even has quote unquote lesser quality clients, because do you know that 50 or 60% of people that will go to a general practitioner don't actually have a real medical case? But with the specialist, he's only dealing with real issues. So it's much better to be a specialist than it is to be a generalist. So pick your niche and pick it well, but pick a niche that is valid and viable. You want to pick a niche that is valid. You want to pick a niche that actually has interest. And you want to pick a niche that actually has a skill that you can actually monetize off. Here, use this. This is the market validity checklist. Is the market growing? Just look at data. Very, very simple. Just look at some data. Is that market been growing on a year by year? And then what are the predictions for it in the next 10 years? Are they in real pain? Like real pain, like psychological, like look on forums. What are people saying on Reddit about this? Like I'm gonna always go back to health. I guess it ties into the fact that I wanted to be a doctor. But if you go on a forum about anything to do with the heart, you're gonna find people in real pain. If you go into a forum about people who are feeling poor, you're gonna find real pain. So look into that, and the more niche you go, the better. So it's not just about, if people are poor or not. Go onto a forum. So for example, you're an artist and you're looking for, helping artists. You want to build a business outside of it. What's their pain? Is there real pain in that? Do they have money? This one, I don't want you to get too over with this, thinking look, because at the end of the day, people pay for what they're paying for. Yeah? But if we can look at a niche that has money, it is better. It's much better if you can go for a niche that has money. Is there 30,000 plus people? So look at groups, Facebook groups. Like, is there 30,000 plus people in this particular niche? You know, I kind of use 30 because it's like the size of a small town, you know? Because we're just looking to at least sell to 10% of these people. You know, if we can sell to 3,000 of them at a, 5K offer, we know there's plenty of money in there for everybody as well. And is there competition? Big one. A lot of people are scared when they see the C word, competition. A lot of people think that when they see competition, that's a sign for them to run away. When I see competition, that's a sign that not only is that system working, but that's a sign that as long as I can be better than everybody else, I'll take a majority of the market. You see, when we look at any industry, for example, you see, in any industry, the guys who are at the top of that game, trying to think. So for example, if we look at the smartphone industry, I'm always going to Apple, but if you look at the smartphone industry, Apple will take about 80% of profits out of the addressable market. And so, but you see, so it means that as long as you can be better than Apple, and a lot of people that scares you, I just don't think that means you're good enough. You're not willing to put the work in to be a person that can be that valuable. Why can't you be good enough? There are new companies coming out every single day. Nobody knew about Tesla. Nobody knew about electric vehicles, but now Tesla is the most valued, I think one of the most valued car companies in the world. There are always new companies coming out. Even when we talk about smartphones, you've got this smartphone company called, I think it's OnePlus. It's OnePlus, isn't it? There's another one. But there's smartphones, Xiaomi, and all these smartphones coming out. Another great thing about competition is that it also shows that there is still, look, as long as there's competition, look, it means that there's even money to be made. Even the quote unquote scraps in a competitive market. Let me rephrase that. The quote unquote scraps in a competitive market are always going to be better than the majority of a niche market. Because I'll take 1% of a big pie, or I'll take, a small piece out of a big pie than a large piece out of a small pie. If I can just take, what's 10% of 100 million? A billion. As opposed to, 10% of 100,000. 50% of 100,000. 10% of 100 million is a lot bigger number, you understand? Even though the percentage is smaller. So competition is a great sign. And are they targetable? Friends, everyone, please listen to me. Targetability is by far, in my opinion, the number one skill issue that you're going to need to understand in order for you to reach 10K a month. Because the thing is this, especially if you want to reach it easily, or let me not use the word easy, but simple. If you want to get to 10K a month, simple, allow yourself to be targetable. What do I mean by that? What I mean is, if I'm looking at a field of yellow flowers and I see a red flower in there, where are my eyes naturally going to go to? The red flower. You need to allow yourself to be targetable. People need to be able to spot you, and people need to be able to relate to you. Targetability, or what I like to more call positioning. How you position yourself in that market is how people can actually find you. Now, everybody gets targeting wrong. Everybody gets marketing wrong. Everybody thinks it's about you making yourself, you reorientating yourself so that people can buy from you. No, it's about you being more of yourself so the right people can buy from you. Let's go to the next slide. Let's go to the next slide, Muffy, and can show that. Look, are you positioned in the market well enough? Next slide, please. What I mean by this is, what I want to show you is something called the positioning protocol. When I mean, are you positioned in the market well enough? Have you positioned yourself so that people can easily identify you, easily want to connect with you, and that allows them to easily buy from you? You see, somebody like Kim Kardashian, the reason why she's a multi-billionaire is because, look, at the end of the day, there are many people that look like Kim Kardashian. There are many people that act like Kim Kardashian. There are many people that speak like Kim Kardashian. But what has separated her is that she's positioned herself in the market so that people that want to buy from her, buy from her. So if we look at the demographic of people that buy from Kim Kardashian's brands, they look like her. They all have BBLs and they all care about the things that she cares about. But if we look at, I don't know, another makeup brand like Charlotte Tilbury, I don't know why that came. I have a wife, so I understand a bit about makeup. She has a completely different demographic. If we look at the people that buy from Zara, it's going to be completely different to the people that buy from, I don't know, there was this one shop I went into, but let's just give an example, like, I don't know, like a Louis Vuitton. Yeah. People that, let's say, let's say Hermes. People that buy from Hermes, they eat somewhere differently. They smoke, they drink somewhere differently, or they smoke somewhere differently, or they hang around some different places. Their kids go to different schools. As opposed to people that go for Zara and H&M. It's no hate, it's just positioning. It's how you position yourself to the market. This is why, Rolls-Royce. Rolls-Royce, they don't sell their car. You know where they sell their cars? They will sell their cars at private jet shows. Ford will sell their cars, you can just find them on the street. Rolex, you will only find a Rolex in prime spaces. You'll find a Rolex in Mayfair, but you won't find a Rolex in South London. So this all comes down to positioning. And this is why I developed something called the positioning protocol. Number one, reveal your convictions. What you believe about money, God, work ethic, integrity, shortcuts, stewardship. This repels the unserious and attracts the aligned. You only want to attract people that align to your brand and your vision, whatever that might be. 2, reveal your standards, who you help and who you don't. Know who you're helping and know who you don't. Kim Kardashian knows she's not going to help the same people that Andrew Tate's going to help. Andrew Tate knows the kind of people that he's going to help. You need to know what you tolerate, what you won't, what success requires in your world. Reveal your receipts, not just your wins, but also your mistakes. Review your process, review your personality. Let's go on to the next slide. I don't want to go on this for too long. It's a whole separate thing. But what I mean by position is very similar to kind of what Alex Hormozi kind of said here. Joe Rogan, the popular podcaster, he talks about aliens, comedy, fighting, politics, biohacking. The Rock has WWE, movies, football, fitness, tequila. Alex Hormozi says, I like business, philosophy, fitness, comedy, utilitarianism. I like business, faith, marriage, relationships, mentality. Everyone has that. And by the way, all of these people are all rich and successful. All of these people have all achieved their dreams. But can you see how somebody who buys from Joe Rogan is somebody completely different to who buys from The Rock? And that's a completely different person to who buys from Alex Hormozi. I resonate more with Alex Hormozi as opposed to The Rock or Rogan because Alex Hormozi aligns with more of my principles than any of those guys do. So now so this is why, look, and like if we go to the next slide as well, please. I kind of show you, and it's like, this is what makes life so easy. When we look at an Iman Gadzhi, for example, this is what his students will look like. Iman looks like that, his students will look like that. And if we go to the next slide, my students will look like, next slide please, this. My students look like me. It's about your positioning. It makes life a lot easier. This guy grows up in this guy made £6,000 profit in the business that I taught him, and he lives in the same area as I do. He talks like me. We think the same way. It's about your positioning. Now, if we go to the next slide, please. Not everybody that I've worked with looks like me. I'm not saying that. But what you'll find is they will resonate on something that aligns to my positioning. Each and every single one of these either is faith-based or they align with me in terms of mentality or politics or something. A lot of these guys, when I asked them, why did you buy from me? They said it's because I liked how you spoke about this. Look, this money thing, look, I'll be honest with you. Getting the right offer, deliverables is the easiest thing on planet Earth. But positioning yourself in the market so that people want to buy from you instead of you trying to get people to buy from you is where the difficulty lands. That's why I created that positioning protocol. Let's go to that, I think the final slide now. So yeah, and that's why I created it. Because when you can reveal your convictions, reveal your standards, reveal your receipts, reveal your process, and finally, reveal your personality, you stop having to try and get people to buy from you, but you now have to actually stop people from buying from you. Let's go on to the last slide. So let's just summarize who God can actually trust with 10K a month. Because you've got to build the 10K person. And that 10K person is broken down into 2 or 3 main pillars. Skills, your character, and your execution. Your skills are what you can do. There are 4 things that you've got to be able to do. And these are the things that are non-negotiable you're going to have to learn. You're going to have an expertise, deliver on results. That I can't teach you. I can't teach you if you're teaching artists how to. I can't teach you how to be an artist. I can't teach you how to sell low ticket digital products. I've never done that. I can't teach you property or drop shipping. You've got to have expertise to be able to deliver those results. You've got to have sales. You've got to be able to communicate value. Sales, you've got to have that sales skill. Sales is absolutely pivotal in any business. If you don't have sales, you won't make any money in your business. It's just fact. Because you're not going to be able to convince anybody or persuade anybody. You've got to be able to communicate that value. You've got to have a pipeline. People like to underestimate the power of an appointment set. You hear everyone talk about appointment setting. But all that is just a fancy way to say a pipeline. It's a pipeline of leads, of people that are actually interested. That gets you that 10K. And when you have a pipeline that's more bigger than the amount of people that you can take on, that's how you get to that 10K a month quickly. Money management. Making money is very easy. Keeping it and stewarding it, whole different situation. You don't go out and splash your money. What you do is you open up a notice account. You buy some investments. First thing you do is you steward it, and first of all, you give to God. You recognize who gave it to you in the first place. You tithe. I'm very big on that. You give to God. Recognize so that you know who actually runs this show and who actually owns this money. Character, who you are. That consists of your discipline, your consistency, and your patience. Can you do the boring work every single day without fail? Consistency. Are you laser focused and consistent? You don't have any of the distractions feeding your focus and starving your distractions. Do you have patience? Have you ever looked up the definition of patience? Patience is not how long you can wait to do something. Patience is how long you can go through pain while you're waiting to get to that end result. That's what patience is. I think it talks about in the Bible how, I don't know what it was, I don't want to misquote, but it talks about how Jesus was patiently waiting on the cross until the manifestation, or people were patiently waiting until the manifestation of this or that. Children of Israel, patiently waiting. They were going through begrudging pain until they got to the result. And finally, execution. You've got to be able to execute. Learn, sell, package that offer, book appointments, get your feedback, and it's that loop. This is the kind of positive feedback loop. First you learn, you're hearing it. Once you learn, now go and sell it. Take the information I've given you, sell it, package up into an offer, book your appointments, get your feedback, scale it on volume, get to that 10K a month. Hope that makes sense. So what I'll do is, I hope that makes sense, guys. And guys, honestly, I've just got to say, look, if you want to make this as easy as possible, it's about your position. Because when you can position yourself well, when you can position yourself well, it makes you a lot more stress-free. Because now You're learning and you're selling, but people actually want to buy from you. The packages that you offer are packages based around you, and people want to buy packages that you want. Positioning is everything. But yeah, we'll leave it here. I'll open up to questions. And then after that, we'll take a break. So yeah, we'll start with you.